Set. Places, everybody. And action.
Hello, friends and listeners. We lost our beloved friend Ted back in March of this year. This episode is in dedication of him.
And now it's time once again for the Hooked on Movies podcast. With me, our Ken.
I'm telling you, you'll never have a deeper sleep than curled up in a Wookiee's lap.
And Justin.
Excuse me, get your presumptuous ass out of my seat.
And I'm Eric. You want to know how I've survived as long as I have? I trust no one. Assume everyone will betray you, and you'll never be disappointed. That's a good way to talk about life. Yes.
I thought it was almond milk.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, it is, of course, the Hooked on Movies podcast. We are talking about Solo, the last Star Wars movie that we have not reviewed. I know there's a new one coming out soon, and we know we have The Mandalorian and Wookiee Fest from the 1980s. What are the little furry
Ewoks?
creatures? The Ewok movies from the 80s, but we're talking the big ones, and Solo was the one.
Don't forget the Christmas special.
Oh my goodness, the 1978 Christmas special. We can't forget that. But this
yes,
one,
we can. We can
yes, we
forget
can.
that.
But it's such a fun watch. It is. It's so fun. It's so bad. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Of course, you can find us on all the major platforms for podcasts, and including our good friends at the Dorkening Network. We give them a shout. Hello, dorks. How are you doing?
We're doing this movie Solo. And the reason why we're doing this movie Solo is in honor of our friend Ted, because, of course, Ted was a big Star Wars nut.
The biggest Star Wars nut.
And of course, for his love of Kathleen Kennedy. They had a beautiful relationship that only could be described in so many words. And those words are going to be represented here on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's Kathleen Kennedy.
Catherine Kennedy, it don't matter. And Ted had to bring her up in episodes where she had no reason to even be there. You could be talking about like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Kathleen Kennedy would probably somehow come up on that podcast. You know, he had just this pure hatred for this lady. It was up there with the John Wayne hatred.
If only the folks out there could hear the rants that we did off microphone about John Wayne. It was legendary, just to say the least. The man hated John Wayne, probably more than any actor I can think of. I think that's his number one hatred.
He's better than Steven Seagal.
No, he didn't hate Steven Seagal that much. And of course, we all know his most hated director of all time, Ken.
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton hated Tim Burton, but we did prove that there were some movies that he did like that Tim Burton did.
There's what, like two of them?
Two's better than nothing, right?
Actually,
What do you like?
I think it was
Big
4
Fish?
or 5 of them in there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Which ones? I'm guessing
Well, he
Big
liked the
Fish.
Batman movie, which he
Batman
basically
one.
just said. He said that was it just fell in his lap, and that's how it all worked.
Oh, of course, right.
I was surprised that one of the answers was not Big Top Pee-wee with his favorite Chris Christopherson.
Good point.
Oh, gosh.
No, that
Yes.
was not on the list.
No, it was not on all this because it's not a very good movie.
No, it's
Anyway.
The Secret of the Hot Dog Tree. Yeah, I don't think it's not like it's not like high art.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, he also had dislikings for like Mel Gibson for a while there. He seemed to be a little softer on that as the years went by. But
It's so tough with people like that because you watch some of the older like movies, like you'll go back and watch like Air America with Robert Downey Jr. and Mel Gibson. You're like, damn, he's so freaking good. You know, I
Yeah.
hate it.
You have to separate the crime from the actor.
Yeah, I
You got to
agree.
separate the crime from the musician, the
And the
crime
thing is-
from the sports player. I mean, that's what you have to do.
And the thing is, Ted would forgive you if you committed such a crime. But if you didn't agree with Ted's politics, then Ted would hate you for like ever. James Woods, I think, was another one that he couldn't stand.
Yeah.
By politics, you mean preference of Star Wars over Star Trek?
He also didn't like Star Trek either.
I know.
That's why it's taken us almost 6 years to get to a Star Trek episode, because Ted was like, I really don't want to do those.
And of course, he would always bring up the original trilogy versus, Lord of the Rings. we're definitely going to miss him. He was an original member, very vocal, very active, as Ken would say, his foil when it came to this podcast. It's going to be tough to replace Ted. And to be honest, we're not going to replace Ted because he can't be replaced. But Justin has agreed to step in and fill the shoes. I don't know if he's going to be Ken's foil, but we'll see how that goes. And we're going to continue.
Completely different guy. So
completely different guy, right? You're not gonna cry in this podcast,
No.
Justin. Okay,
No, definitely
all right. So
not.
I'm,
Is there a John
It's
Lennon
very-
song playing?
I would get very emotional during our
Yeah.
podcast. Very emotional. So,
very emotional. Very
Yeah.
emotional.
He did. He loved his movies. He loved his music. And I mean, he and I shared a podcast called Generation Playlist where we did all music and we would choose a playlist based on an artist and all that. And I mean, he brought a lot of that passion there. So that's one of the reasons that we're kind of like doing this together is because like he and I had that sort of relationship too. So
Did he
Yeah.
cry on that podcast?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Did he really? Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's talking about the Beatles, like specifically, and like things like that, like bringing up memories of like your parents, like your dad or your mom, and like oh, I remember the first time I heard this song, and this is what was going up on that. I think it's similar with like when you guys asked when was the first time that you saw this movie, and you think about like what time was it in your life when you did that, and it brings back like memories. So I can understand it. I don't feel it myself, but I can understand it.
he loved John Belushi and Chris Farley. Those were his two guys that if you started talking about him, he would lose it. And then if we started talking about Jim Belushi, he would go on a rant. It's not Jim Belushi's fault that his brother was more
Exactly.
talented.
Come on. Well, Jim Belushi's got
I
some
could-
talent.
I really always
Little bit.
thought that Belushi was overrated. And I mean, you could look at either Belushi and make that sense, but it's like, I'm like, what do we got? He's
Ted would
okay.
have disowned you if you
Yeah.
would. Did you tell him that? Was that,
I've said it before. I'm like, man, I love that hearing you guys talk about like Blues Brothers. Like, I get it. I love that movie. But Animal House to me is like, I don't really care. It's like Bluto, okay, whatever. The other characters were so much more charismatic in this. Like, I'm a Dan Aykroyd guy. I prefer him.
have you ever seen Continental Divide?
No, is it terrible?
No,
I like.
it's
I'll have to
Continental
watch that.
Divide is his serious role, where he is a Chicago Sun-Times reporter, and he does a story out in the middle of like Montana or somewhere in the woods and meets this girl. And it's not a comedy; it is a dramatic movie. And
I think it's all right. I think Chris
More
Farley's
of a-
more overrated than Jim Belushi.
I don't think he could be overrated at all. I think he is like when you look at like Saturday Night Live, he is the funniest person that has ever been through those halls. Like, and I
My
think they would say
goodness.
like the camera guy would tell you that. So
But he had to rely though on his physical comedy. And my thing is, and me and Ted would butt heads on this. I don't think he can act his way out of a paper bag.
No, I agree.
Um,
He's a horrible actor.
And he's like, see, if he would have lived, he had this part that would have been amazing, and he would have set records. And I'm like, okay, sure, Ted. And this is coming from the guy who did Beverly Hills Ninja. All right, sounds good.
what's the expectation here? You're expecting that he would be dramatic like John Belushi or like Robin Williams or something like that? Is that your expectation though?
I think that was Ted's expectation because we didn't. Ted thought he was going to be, that type of versatile actor, and I've never seen it.
I don't
He's-
agree with that.
He is literally a stereotype of himself. He is the same person in every role.
Yeah, but
Black
so is Jack
Black Sheep
Nicholson.
is the same.
With few exceptions, Jack Nicholson is that character too. So he plays the movie star version that brings people into the theaters, but it's like you want to see him yell. It's like that's what you're going to get. Like,
If you
like
like-
that's what we got with few exceptions.
Yeah, if you like Chris Farley, then you're going to like what he does, regardless, But if you don't like Chris Farley, he's not going to bring anything new to the table, is what I say.
To be honest, it's like, is he as versatile an actor as Gary Busey? No. But
Gary
would you rather
Busey.
see a movie?
Wow,
but
that's a
trust
name out of
me,
nowhere.
it is a name out of nowhere, but I'm just saying you think of the versatility of someone like Gary Busey, and you're like, that guy's not that great. Or Jake Busey, yeah, from the Frighteners, absolutely.
Or
But
Gary
like,
Coleman.
these are hot takes, guys. These are hot takes. But you think about like a Chris Farley. Would you rather see a movie with Chris Farley or Gary Busey in it?
Depends on the movie.
Right.
Point
I
Break
mean-
comes to mind.
Lethal Weapon.
The Coneheads, thank you.
I love the
I love the
Coneheads.
Coneheads. Yeah, love Coneheads. A lot of people
I
don't get it.
will say one thing. I do disagree with you on Justin about you thinking that Chris Farley is the most talented person to come out of SNL. I'm not going to drag it out, but I don't even think he's top 20.
Wow. Okay.
Oh no,
That sounds like
There
a
are
discussion for another day.
Another day.
I think
Another day.
Sandler is more talented than him.
Phil Hartman is the number one.
Phil Hartman.
You know what, man? Like honestly, if I have to give a kudos to somebody above him, I would pick Phil Hartman. Yeah, like I'm not going to fight you on that one whatsoever. I love Phil Hartman.
I
Big
also
Phil
like
Hartman
Dana
guy.
Carvey a lot.
Yes.
I think Farley is funnier than 99% of them. Then I'll say, and I don't mean like talented as in like a versatile actor like Ted would have suggested or anything else like that. But the other one to mention would be Kevin Smith movies, because that was one of the hallmarks of Ted's. He was always talking about
and
how much he
of course
loved
Stanley Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick. Yeah.
Never say anything bad about Stanley Kubrick.
That
But
was
he
very
did. I will say Ted did. I was not a real big Kubrick fan to begin with. He did get me into the Kubrick films.
One of my favorite
Yeah.
episodes, 2001, The Space Odyssey.
Yeah,
I'm glad we got to do that 5-year retrospective episode last year.
that was fun.
You know, with
That was fun.
with him. So we got to go through all that and have a little poking at each other. Like that was
Yeah.
kind of cool.
You've got all of our whole retrospect of all the catalog of podcasts. Listen to Ted. So he's gone, but he's not gone.
Check out the
Yeah.
old episodes.
Check them out. They're winners. Some.
Some, not all. In fact, we're going to release 2 episodes that we recorded a year and a half ago on Cannonball Run 1 and 2. Ted was just so hateful of those movies, especially 2. We decided
Yeah.
not to release those movies. So I'm going to go back to them. I'm going to edit them in a nice way. I mean,
You're gonna have to. Yeah.
They probably will turn out to be 10 minutes long. We'll release those sometime later this month or early in June.
It's going to say, I like Kathleen Kennedy.
Ted's synopsis of Cannonball Run 2 would be, why is Frank Sinatra in this? So, yeah. We could do an AI Ted, bring back AI Ted.
Yeah, that's really scary that you could take his voice and plug it into a system and it will actually generate, like we could have an AI Ted here and it would like sound like Ted. It might even talk like Ted, but of course it wouldn't be Ted. There would be something, of course.
This is not the droid you're looking for.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, we'll definitely miss him. He was the reason why we actually kept on going for a little while. Me and Eric both were ready to kind of wash our hands of all this and move on. And Ted is like, I love this. I don't want to let this go. And so we probably kept it going for an extra 2 years because
At
of
least. Yeah.
What was the worst movie that Ted picked?
that. The worst movie that Ted picked. Ooh.
I know you got to go through like all of them, but does something stick out?
The Exorcism of Emily Rose was the worst one that he picked. I want to say it was the worst movie that we reviewed. But after he picked it, even he asked himself why he chose that movie. Because we picked that thing apart. It didn't know what it wanted to be. Did it want to be a courtroom drama? Did it want to be a horror film? And after we did the review, Ted was like, he was apologizing to me. And then we did, I think, The Conjuring a year later or so. He's like, that's the movie that I really wanted to do. And we're like, yeah, that's much better.
Did we pick Emily Rose for Halloween?
Yeah, it was a Halloween.
It was a Halloween
episode.
movie? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was, I think we were working on possession movies at that time.
Possession
And
movies.
For some reason, he picked that, and until he was gone, he was like saying, I don't know why I did that. So
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's good insight though for the listeners and all that.
it was a good podcast, though. I actually enjoyed that podcast because it was one of those ones where we got to like rip it to shreds. I like it when we can rip a movie to shreds in a nice way. So
What do you think
I'll
his
stick- I'll
favorite
stick with
movie
Rocky
was?
III.
he said it was Casablanca, which that's my favorite movie. He needs to stop stealing my thunder. Anyway,
It's Empire Strikes Back. Come on, like that's
Yeah,
that's
you're
gotta
right.
be.
You're right. It would have to be a Star Wars movie, and it would be Empire. Yeah.
you know
that's a
what,
good
though?
point.
Every movie seemed to be his favorite movie when we got to the end of the ratings when he gave a 5 hook. Everything was like the best movie ever. If Ted recommended the movie, it was a 5 hook movie. I think, except for Emily Rose, of course. But I think there was 1 or 2 other movies where he didn't give it a hook. But me and Eric would be on the camera because this is, an audio podcast, and we'd be like 5. We're like,
Yeah.
can't see me. Like for me, a 5 rating is like you have to be very special to get the 5. I look at it back now, and it's not that Ted rated too many movies as a 5 rating. It was that Ted loved movies so much that he appreciated probably everything that made him like feel something, right? So
We
Yeah,
can
no, I get
definitely
that.
say with Ted, he watched a lot of movies
Rewatch, like that's the thing I always thought. It's
and
like, oh, I
rewatched a lot
I
of
watch
movies.
this movie like twice a year. I'm like, when do you have time to rewatch, like all of
Twice
these
a year,
movies
twice a month.
year? Yeah, I'm just like, I don't
He's like,
believe that.
I just
He's like-
watched all the Star Wars movies over the weekend. I'm like, what? It's like
I'm like, do
30
you fall asleep to them?
It's like 30 some hours of movies we analyzed, and we're like, what?
he would go to us and be like, "Why haven't you seen this movie yet?" And we're like, "Yeah, Ted, like we have your time to do that, right?" So
Yeah.
he was always getting on us about not seeing a movie yet or something.
Movies,
One of the
TV
things-
shows, yeah.
One of the things that always tugged on my heartstrings a little bit was Ted had a heart attack a few years back, and when he was kind of like in a coma, they were playing our episodes to him, especially the Star Wars episodes.
Cool.
And so he was listening to me and Eric.
Was that to force him to wake up to criticize it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
So
we've
you're
been-
saying he came back out of spite?
I disagree.
Exactly.
Yes, it's
Well,
right.
me and Eric was saying stuff like, "Yeah, this movie sucked." We're like, "Damn." So we're trying to get a reaction out of him. Like, he did bounce back for a little while, and unfortunately, the time came. Again, yes, we'll miss him. But on to Solo. We'll talk more about Ted as we move on, because this is Star Trek, and how can you not talk about Ted without when you're doing Star Trek movies?
Ooh, the final dig from Ken.
Well, Ted would have wanted us to do the final Star Wars movie. So Solo
Yeah, I
was
agree.
definitely one that he would. Well, now not sure if now obviously his take is every Star Wars movie is great. So he probably would have given this one 5 looks as well, but that's fine. It's all good.
He defended
we'll
every
miss him.
Star Wars movie.
Even the shitty CG ones that drove me mad. He's like, well, it's still Star Wars. I'm like, doesn't make it good.
Like me and Justin are Star Trek fans, and we would say probably any Star Trek film is better than no Star Trek film. So just having the film,
I mean,
out there.
like number 5 though.
5 is playing games with us. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, but it has its moments. But in general, yeah, I could probably have done without 5. And well, we're going to be talking about in our next episodes. The first 2 Star Trek movies are coming up. So now that Ted's gone, I'm free to do Star Trek, I guess.
Yeah, and
Even-
we
even
can
the-
finally
do
do John
We're
Wayne
going to do it
movies.
anyway. Yeah,
even the Captain Steubing Star Trek movies.
Yeah, we're going to be doing those.
Captain
Okay.
Steubing.
Yeah.
But Ted actually was on board to do Star Trek actually coming up. So we were going to do them regardless. It would have been fun to do it with him, because I think there were a few films that I think he would have actually enjoyed. Because one thing that Ted did, and it's just great because we'll eventually get to Solo. But the great thing that Ted did was he would bomb a movie. Like he would just talk bad about the movie. And I'll be like, "When did you see that movie?" "Well, I haven't seen that movie yet." I'm like,
We'll talk. What?
"And you're ripping this movie?" Yeah, so he didn't see any of these Star Trek movies, and he's ripping on them. So it's like, come on, Ted, let's be it.
He
If
was wrong
anything,
about
we could
Real
have forced
Genius.
them
That's
to
all I
watch
can
them.
say.
God, Real Genius.
Love that
Yeah.
movie.
Love
Someone
Real
has
Genius,
to, and apparently I'm not that person.
It's the
but
2 of
whatever.
us.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's talk about the 2018 release, Solo, A Star Wars Story. When was the first time, gentlemen, you saw this movie? I'm going to say probably theater for Ken.
with Ted. There was
Wow.
Ted.
Shocking. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about that?
In fact, starting with The Force Awakens, me and Ted saw the rest of the Star Wars movies opening day. Sometimes he'll say it 3 or 4 times before he got to me on opening day.
That's true.
But I think Solo was actually, we went the actual first time together.
Was he dressed as a Wookiee? I beat Eric to that.
You did. Damn it. Yes. What Chewbacca character did you dress up as? Yes.
Yes, the earlier days one.
He's a big giant Yoda walking around.
I'm wondering if that was the one where he brought his iPod in and he dropped it and broke it.
Oh my! He brought his iPod in. Was he trying to
Actually, iPad. It was an iPad.
pull a Kramer and film the
record
movie?
it.
Yeah,
I don't know why he brought
for
that.
the streets.
Well, no, I know why he brought those in. So it wasn't Solo, but it was for another movie. I think it was probably Force Awakens that he did this for. He would bring it because he had to do something in between movies. So he would have his iPad with them to kind of like play games or do whatever. And then he set it down in the theater on the chair and knocked it over. And it cracked.
Ouch.
How about you, Justin?
Oh, I saw this in the theaters, absolutely. 2018, this would have been in like the Justin versus Justin YouTube era. So I think we did a review of this for the show back then. So yeah, in theaters.
So you dressed up as Woody Harrelson?
Yeah,
He is Woody Harrelson.
He does
Man,
kind
I
of look like Woody Harrelson a little bit.
I would have
yeah.
loved to have his haircut from this. I mean, like, he didn't have that bad Hunger Games do. He had like that cool kind of swoosh. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, Woody. This is like
Yeah.
pre-True Detective season 1.
Oh, God,
So I was
love
like,
True
yeah,
Detective so much.
that's a great show. So
Yes. And for me, I saw this one on video because I rarely went to the theater in that era. Blu-ray, one of the first Blu-rays I think
nice.
I do remember getting this from Redbox.
Do they have director's commentary or anything like that? Like any special features that were interesting?
On the one that I have now, yes. On the Redbox one, no. So yeah, it's just George Lucas crying, wondering why he sold off his baby.
Oh, no, he's fine. I'm sure he doesn't care.
Oh, he's not hanging from the rafters somewhere yet.
I doubt it.
J.J. Abrams is like, "Fuck you, George. Get off set."
Yeah, kind of.
I'll take it from here, George.
I don't think J.J. Abrams actually changed a lot of what George Lucas wanted it to do, unfortunately. You know?
I don't even know how any of them had any involvement or anything. Because, like, at some point, like, Dave Filoni got in there and one of the actors from this film got in there and kind of, like, started moving stuff around. So I don't even know. Like Lucas kind of, like, is just like, go make me money. It's like Disney owns it. Yeah.
Residuals. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, he cared more about the action figures and things of that nature than he actually cared about the actual film, let's be honest.
And he was right.
He was. I know,
He was.
right? I mean, you got what? Lucasfilm Limited. He's got his audio. What is it?
THX.
THX, which is huge in the 90s. I mean, the guy's probably rolling literally in money, just blowing his nose with
Skywalker
$100
Sound.
bills. Yeah.
I just think of Mel Brooks and Spaceballs. Merchandising.
Where the
Merchandising,
real
where the
money
real
is made.
money's made.
That's right. The kids love this one.
The
Yeah.
flamethrower. Yeah.
Yes.
In fact, he made a deal with Mel Brooks that he can make the film Spaceballs, but he wasn't allowed to do merchandising off the film. So that's why he's got that little merchandising gimmick there in the film.
Well, December we get Spaceballs 2, but it's not called The Search for More Money. It's I think it's called the second one or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
The sequel or some, yeah. I'm still waiting for the other spin-offs from Mel Brooks. Jews on Ice. No, Jews in Outer Space.
Where
And
Jews
Hitler on
were
Ice.
Jews in space.
Well,
Hitler on Ice.
they did a History of the World Part 2,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
it
I just
sucked.
don't want to talk about it.
It was so disappointing.
It's like the worst thing I've ever seen.
It's up there.
Man, like, and I watched that Hulu made for Hulu Quasimodo movie that Broken Lizard, who did Super Troopers, did, and
Yeah.
and that was better than History of the World Part 2.
I gotta see that because I like the Broken Lizards.
Watch
stuff.
it, and then you can confirm or deny if that's better or worse than History of the World Part 2.
That means you might have to watch part 2 again.
I didn't finish the last 2 episodes of Part 2.
Yeah,
'cause
right.
I was so freaking done with that.
So disappointing. All right, Justin, pressure is on you now.
All right.
Particulars. Let's do it.
All right, we've got Solo, a Star Wars story from 2018. A world premiere May 10th, 2018 in Los Angeles. The U.S. release May 25th, 2018. Runtime 135 minutes. Rating PG-13. Budget and financial performance. We have a production budget of $275 million to $299.8 million. Right? Worldwide gross 393, 151, 347 million. So
Supposed to say $1 million.
million. Domestic gross was 213 of that. International gross was 179. So all things considered, I mean, it made its money back and then some. Opening weekend was 84,420,489. So pretty decent opening.
Pretty damn
domestic.
impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. And it opened in 4,381 theaters, which is, I mean, that's Star Wars quality. That's what you'd expect. The director is Ron Howard, with writers Jonathan and Lawrence Kasdan. Producers, this is going to shock you, Kathleen Kennedy, Allison Shamir, Simon Emanuel, Lawrence Kasdan, Jonathan McGatwin, Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, Kiri Hart, Susan Towner, and Will Allegra. You'll notice that there's a lot of producers on this. This movie was kind of bounced around from director to director, and it finally landed with
Cunningham.
Ron Howard, with Obi-Wan Cunningham. Director of photography, Bradford Young. Threw him in there because, just give him some stuff there. With music composed by John Powell, with the themes of Star Wars from John Williams. So John Williams did not do the music for this, but his themes were used. Special effects, this was actually nominated for Best Visual Effects at the 91st Academy Awards. And then now to Eric's favorite part, the cast of characters. What I'll tell you is the funny thing about this, there's not a ton of cast in this, but you've got your main cast, Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo, Woody Harrelson as Tobias Beckett, Amelia Clarke as Kiara, Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian, Thandie Newton as Val, Phoebe Waller-Bridge as L337, Jonas Suantamo as Chewbacca, Paul Bettany as Dryden Voss, Jon Favreau as Rio Durant, doing the voice because he was a CGI character, Linda Hunt as Lady Proxima, Aaron Kellyman as Enfys Nest, Warwick Davis as Weasel, Ian Kenny as Red Bolt, John Tui as Corso. So that's pretty much it. There's some additional voices of note and all that in the voice acting community and all that, but really that's it of note. The Rotten Tomatoes scores, critics gave this a 69%, with the audience score at 63%. So they're not far off from each other. Yeah, so I don't think this is certified fresh, because I think it would have to be over 70 for that. So it's kind of a split.
It's 80.
Is it? It'd have to be at 80? Yeah, that makes more sense.
I think fresh is over 70, certified fresh is 80.
Yeah,
Something
I don't think it was, like, just based on what I've seen here. So for critics,
Ted would be upset
not a splat then. So it's less. That would be less than 50%, I suppose. But for critics from Time Magazine, Stephanie Zarchik said Ron Howard's foray into the Star Wars universe starts out slow, but it brightens up a little in the second half. I guess that's winning by default. But those are the particulars for this particular movie, Solo, a Star Wars story.
That sounds like a backhanded compliment if I've ever heard one.
100%.
Wow. Nice job, Opie Cunningham. Don't do another. Okay.
I don't think he will, but his daughter does.
Yeah.
Ted would have said it was the Star Wars fans that brought this down, because he always says Star Wars fans are the most idiotic people out there, because the ratings are not what they should be. Ted probably would think that this is probably a certified fresh movie, and the only reason why it wasn't was because of the stupid Star Wars fans.
I will say this. I think that there's a lot of media hysteria around, like, Star Wars movies as it is. And I think that sometimes it leads to unfair boosts and unfair, expectations and, like, putting them down. I don't think that this suffers the same as, like, the movie Avatar. I think Avatar was garbage. I didn't like Avatar at all. And follow me on this rant, gentlemen. But that movie, I don't know a single person that likes it, let alone loves it.
My mother loves it.
Well, that's the one person. Do you think that movie's worth all the acclaim that it gets? I don't.
No.
Something's going on. So, like, to say what Ted said is probably somewhat accurate, that there's probably some sort of, like, unfair manipulation going on one way or the other. Yeah, I think it's plausible.
But for Avatar, the special effects were incredible. I mean, they made Sigourney Weaver look so young.
She is the gatekeeper.
I hate those Avatar movies more than life itself.
Yeah, I don't.
I just don't get it, man. I don't get it. Like, if you asked me to review it on this, I would begrudgingly watch the damn thing.
It's Smurfs on acid. I mean, I don't know.
Like, how is this groundbreaking cinema that's so worthy of acclaim? The only thing I can think of is, like, the international community loves it. Like, great. And we don't even do 3D anymore, which was, like, the whole purpose. Avatar rant over. I'm just saying.
Yeah, all right.
I think there's some hanky-panky.
Bad dialogue. It's not a good movie.
It's got to be like high as a kite.
Who's the main bad guy?
To watch it. I don't even know.
Giovanni Ribisi is your main bad guy.
Giovanni Ribisi. Yes.
You'd be like, the kid that broke his arm and that thing you do? Like, okay.
He's evil. Evil, I tell you. Yes.
Or the bad guy from Ted? Oh, okay.
All right, well, let's keep this thing rolling here. We're gonna do Ken's tidbits. Do 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 do. Ken's tidbits. There we go. That's where AI Ted could come in. He could do Ken's tidbits. All right.
So Dryden Voss facial stripes were added in post-production, according to Paul Bettany. I don't know if I'm saying that right. He didn't know about them until he saw the photo Ron Howard sent to him. I thought it was interesting watching the stripes get redder when I guess he got angrier, and that was
cool. Yeah,
it was kind of cool.
His eyes too would do that.
Yeah,
like when he was talking to Kira.
So with this film, Warwick Davis has been involved in 10 Star Wars related projects, starting with Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. So
awesome.
yeah. Well, as soon as I saw him, I was like, Willow, so every time I see him, that's where I first go to is Willow.
I was thinking about this too, because it's like he's got a great face, and they hide his face and stuff like that, but it's like he's got a recognizable face that when you see him, you know who he is. You're like, this guy's a movie star, man. Like he doesn't have to be a leading man or anything else like that, but it's like when you put him in a movie, you're like, oh, it's freaking him. You know who he is.
He's that guy.
Yeah,
he's that
absolutely.
guy. So after Ron Howard came on board, there was a question about who would receive the directing credit. The Directors Guild rules state that a person who shot 90% of the film would get directing credit. So what did Ron Howard do? He reshot 80% of the film. And as a compromise, gave Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who were the original directors, co-executive producer credits.
Oh, they hand those things out like candy. Yeah. It
reminds me of when we did the movie State and Maine, and they were making the joke about, let's give them an executive credit.
VP, yeah.
Woody Harrelson was picked over Christian Bale for Han's mentor.
That's a
Bale
different
would have been
movie.
cool in this. Yeah, but Bale would have been cool.
There's no humor with Bale.
That's
in that
what I was
role.
thinking too.
Yeah.
And this is a lighter movie than that.
I actually appreciate Woody Harrelson's, even though he's like not trying, like he doesn't have funny lines. He just comes off as being kind of like
sarcastic.
Yeah, kind of such. Yeah. He is funny in just being himself. So
I agree.
During an interview on the Graham Norton show, Phoebe Waller-Bridge said that prior to her casting, she never saw a Star Wars movie before and didn't even know what a droid was. I have a hard time believing that, but she decided to play L337 as a human in the audition. When one of the directors asked her if she could do a droid-like with her mechanical hand gestures, she deduced that the droids were robots. And although the casting directors asked her to try it again, they liked her original interpretation of the character and gave her the part. And of course,
she's so good like that. I think it's just she's such a unique voice in this universe where she comes across as kind of like an equal rights advocate for robots and all that.
Right.
And it's it's insane.
When this movie first came out and they did that, there was so much of that going on that it kind of bothered me. Not that I have a problem with the actual, equal rights and all that other stuff. It was just, there was so much of it going on at that time. It was just another thing that was added on to it. But then when I watched it just recently, I enjoyed it much more because I didn't have that flood of, all this politics that were going around at that particular time. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe like watching it, outside of that sort of like maybe in 10 years from now, it'll be completely different. That sort of thing for viewers.
Easter egg, when Han meets Lando for the first time, Han asks him, "Can I ask you a question, Captain Calrissian?" To which Lando answers, "Anything, Han." And then, of course, Han responds back saying it's Han. But this is in reference to the fact that Billy D. Williams said Han's name as Han in Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, that's funny.
We argued about that, I think, back in the original trilogy episodes. Is it Han or is it Han? So, because we kept on going back and forth. But now we find out why this happened is because of Billy D. Williams saying Han. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller left as writers of The Flash to work on this film. They and the original editors, Chris Dickens, left halfway through production, signed creative differences with producers Kathleen Kennedy and co-writer Lawrence Kasdan.
Shocking.
A studio report revealed that Lord and Miller's comedic screwball tone and freewheeling approach angered Kasdan. not Kennedy actually, who wanted the film shot the way it was written. It was also irritated over production department heads who complained directly to Kennedy. Anonymous crew members added that Lord and Miller's lengthy setups caused the production to fall behind, and both men in turn felt restricted by the studio not giving them permission to be more creative, to have more creative input in the story. The final straw came during the 2-week break while production moved to the UK, because you have to go to the UK to film a Star Wars movie.
Of course.
Kennedy and Kasten and replacement editor Pietro Scala were shocked at the footage that they had seen and decided that Lord and Miller were out. That's why we have the change in directors here to Ron Howard. But
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't know, like, how bad could it have been? You know, like seriously, it's like you hired 2 guys from the Flash TV series on CW to write this and all that, and then you're like, I'm shocked and appalled that it's too goofy and all this stuff. It'd be like, come on. I love how Ron Howard can direct and do things. I mean, Apollo 13, you know, like some really good stuff that he's done, but it's like, I don't think that's like, oh, this would have been a disaster. I'd be like, I don't know, guys. I don't think it would have been that bad.
I tend to agree. I would have liked to see what that version would have been. You know, the funny thing was that Ron Howard actually was tabbed to actually direct episode 1 back in the day. And he felt like that was just too much for him to take on. Like, he didn't want to, like, step into that universe like that. I think taking on Star Wars, I think it was easier because it's an offshoot, right?
I agree.
So,
True.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, he did a great job with Willow. I love Willow, but I know you're not a fan. But like, Willow's a great fantasy epic.
Mhm.
And he did a fantastic job with that. And I think commanding respect to the people that you work with is a big deal. And the fact that he could wrangle like a Val Kilmer, that's a big deal.
You know what, though? I do feel like Val Kilmer is a little too dull in that movie. I mean, it's not terrible. But I mean, I like the movie.
You should rewatch it then, because I disagree.
Okay.
He's like a firecracker in every scene.
I feel like he's a little bit more energetic in other movies. But
Maybe we should do Willow as a movie.
I love Willow, so I would.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that down the road. And final tidbit: this is the first Star Wars film where no Jedis are mentioned or lightsabers.
There is a lightsaber.
Yeah.
I thought that, but there is at the end. Yeah. At the very last scene with Darth Maul, there is a lightsaber.
That's right. He lights it up and
He does light it up.
He does it to try to like intimidate her or something like that. But I thought the exact same thing, and then I'm like, yeah, they don't mention Jedis. They don't mention the Force. They don't mention any of that stuff.
No. But then they throw the Darth Maul in there, which is unfortunate that they didn't do anything with that afterwards.
It is kind of, because it was like, that would have been cool, whatever they're planning.
Would have loved to see another film with Darth Maul as the bad guy again.
I feel like we're getting something, and I don't know if it's a series or something.
It's a series. It's an animated series.
Cool, man. Whatever. I mean, I'm be honest with you guys, I'm not going to watch it, but I'm glad that it's there because the fan base is there. And I'll tell you, I didn't love Rogue One. I didn't watch Andor seasons 1 or 2. I didn't watch Ahsoka. You know, I will watch The Mandalorian because I love The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is my favorite Star Wars.
I like The Mandalorian.
And people love Grogu.
Yeah, I have like
loved it.
Yeah, I've got like so many.
Ted had a few of those too.
I have a friend who is obsessed with Grogu.
I had just went on Monday to a Cubs game, and it was May the 4th be with you night. So they're giving a Grogu bobblehead type of things away.
Oh, that's fun.
They had a Cub logo on it, so I didn't keep it. Well, I had to deal with my friend Ross, who said, "I'll pay your ticket if you give me the doll." I'm like, "Sure, why not?" So
give me the child.
Give me the child. Yes, actually, I do like Rogue One a lot, except for the trying to squeeze in dead actors into the film. So I just don't like the CGI of dead actors into films. It just looks horrible.
I can't stand the Forrest Whitaker performance. I'm like, who are you, Stevie from Malcolm in the Middle? I'm like, dude, like it's just not a good choice. Like everything you're doing here is just weird.
And Andor season 1 is very slow, but season 2 does do a better job. And
I'm so glad that you like it, and that's for you. And I just am not interested. So
I wouldn't say it's great. But
not even Ted could convince me to watch this. So
I don't even know if Ted even watched them, to be honest with you. As much as he was a Star Wars fan, I would watch things before him, and I'm like, when are you going to watch this, dude? So I don't know if he ever even got to was it the Osaka? I feel like it's like a
Ahsoka,
Japanese
yeah,
drink.
Ahsoka Tano.
Sounds like a Japanese drink that I should have at a Japanese restaurant.
Delicious.
And nutritious. So
Yeah,
that's all I have for Kids Tidbits.
Okay.
On to the plot.
Yay, the plot. All right. On the ship-breaking planet Corellia, Han, or Han, we want to go with, because we're going to go with Han. Han and his girlfriend, Kira, try to buy their way out from under the White Worms gang led by Lady Proxima. Their escape goes wrong. Kira is captured at the gate while Han slips through, leaving Han determined to return for her. With no other path forward, he enlists with the Empire, where an officer assigns him the surname Solo. And that's the origin story of Han Solo. Kind of cool. Years later, Han is stuck as an infantryman in a brutal campaign on Mimban. He encounters thieves posing as Imperial troops, Tobias Beckett and his crew, and tries to force his way into their operation. Beckett has Han arrested, and Han is thrown into a pit with a captured Wookiee. Instead of fighting, Han befriends the Wookiee, Chewbacca, and the two escape together, forming the partnership that will define both their lives. Han joins Beckett's crew for a high-speed train robbery on Vandor to steal coaxium. The heist is attacked by masked raiders led by Enfys Nest, and the job collapses. He dies during the escape, and the stolen coaxium is lost. Beckett's group is now deeply indebted to crime lord Dryden Voss, who demands repayment. To settle their debt, the crew needs a fast ship. They track down gambler, smuggler Lando Calrissian and his outspoken droid co-pilot L337. Then win and bargain their way into borrowing Lando's prized Millennium Falcon. Han is immediately enamored with the ship, setting up the rivalry and future friendship between Han and Lando. The plan becomes a heist at the spice mines of Kessel to steal unrefined coaxium. During the breakout, L3 is destroyed and her navigational systems are integrated into the Falcon. Han pilots the Falcon through extreme danger, taking an untested route and pushing the ship beyond its limits, escaping with the coaxium and earning the boast that he made the Kessel run in 12 parsecs. On Savareen, the crew plans to refine the coaxium for Voss. Han learns Enfys Nest raiders are fighting against the rise of the Empire and crime syndicates, and he chooses to help them instead of simply delivering the payoff. A tense double cross follows. Beckett betrays Han and steals the coaxium, intending to sell it himself. Han anticipates the move and ultimately shoots Beckett first, ending their partnership on Han's terms. Han and Chewbacca defeat Voss's forces, but Kira makes her own play for survival and power, killing Voss and reporting to the shadowy leader of the syndicate. She then leaves Han behind, claiming the Falcon for herself and departing into the underworld. In the aftermath, Han helps fund Enfys Nest's cause and heads off with Chewbacca to find a job with a notorious gangster on Tatooine, setting the stage for the smuggler Han will become. Wow, it sounds like a really cool movie.
The way that it's phrased is a little bit different, though, because it's like she leaves Han behind, period.
Right.
Then he claims the Falcon for himself after he wins it in a card game, stopping
Yes.
Lando from cheating,
Yes.
which he noticed on the first time. So it's like kind of different, but yeah. It does sound like a good movie, doesn't it?
It does.
We'll find out if it is.
Let's talk about it. All right. Let's start off with Justin, since he's new to the game. What do you think is the single most important choice Han makes in the film, and why?
To leave the planet in the beginning, because I think that determines everything. So he knows that he's fed up with his life, fighting for scraps, working for Lady Proxima, and he knows that he loves Kira and that he wants to get them off. But it's like, if you think of it, how different would this movie have been if he gets caught, or he tries to save her? And we could see where kind of like the cracks in his character. He's not Luke Skywalker. He's not like the good guy, the white knight, anything else like that. He is immersed in shades of gray. And you'll see that throughout the Star Wars universe and all that, like the choices that he makes. You'll see that like in this movie, like certain things that he does and like will repeat those sort of things. I don't know if you guys noticed, but it's like he drops stuff like at the first like sign of danger so he can get away. Like he scuttles his cargo so he can get away. Same thing that he got in trouble with in Star Wars with Jabba the Hutt. So it's like, and he did it like 2-3 times in this. So it's like that's kind of like his go-to fight or
And the
flight.
Force
He's
Awakens.
out in the
Force Awakens does the same thing.
Yeah.
Drops the cargo.
So it's like we kind of know who he is. He's a survivor. He's good at doing that stuff, but it's like that was kind of what he did. And it's like you think about it in kind of like a crappy way. It's like what he threw away was Kira. So it's like he made a conscious choice of that and then he regretted it.
But did make the effort to attempt to go back. That was his whole plan.
Yeah, I mean, he did, but I don't think he realized that he was doing that. Like, but that's kind of his MO, just like ditch the cargo and keep going so you can get away.
And
Like, I don't
Kira
think
was
he
the cargo.
realized it. Yeah.
Yeah. Deep.
I take it a little differently though. I feel like he's pulling her into the other side. It's like an immigration line or whatever that is. I don't know. And he's staying there. He could continue just to run, but he's yelling and screaming and making that thing. And I really think he truly wanted to still save her. I think he would have sacrificed himself for her at the end of the day.
I don't know that he would have sacrificed himself for her. I don't see that aspect of it. Like sacrifice, like do we know for sure that he was going to be killed? Because he always seemed to be like one step ahead of everybody. Like a Bugs Bunny sort of character where he's like one step ahead of the bad guys every time. So I don't know that it's that. I feel like he hadn't really hit the ceiling with like authority yet.
Maybe the problem of this movie at the beginning is the fact that we need backstory to our backstory.
How did he meet Kira?
One of the things about Star Wars Episode 3 was we were going to be introduced to Han and Chewie was actually going to be taking care of Han. That was scrapped. But we don't know really a lot about the Han up to this point, so we're just basing it off of what we know who Han is from the movies, that we've already seen. So I feel like that's unfair to a certain extent because
how so? Because it's a prequel based on your perception of a character that you've seen in what, like at least how many movies was he in? Because they have Force Awakens, so 4 other movies. So you know who this character is because you've bought the breakfast cereal, you've watched the cartoon, you've bought the T-shirts and all that. You know who he is. How is it unfair if that's the expectation going in, but this is his beginning story?
It's unfair. So one thing that, and I know we talked about this earlier about you not liking Rogue One, but what Rogue One did at the beginning of the movie was the fact that there was an earlier part that showed, how the main character, what she had to go through as a child that ended up to being who she was later on.
Yeah, character development.
If we had something like that to show what Han was like when he was maybe 10 years old, and something like dramatic that happened to him, maybe his mother was taken away the same way, but that's why when he loses her, he acts the way that he does. Something to that extent. I think we could have used that.
I'm with you to a point, but I don't like going back to the original question. It's like, what is the most defining question or decision that the character makes? Like, I agree with you. If we saw him from a child, kind of like in The Mandalorian, right, where it's like, oh, here he's on this war-torn planet and he's saved by the Mandalore tribe when they open up like a thing and say, like, I agree with you, like show him on the streets and he's like grifting people, and how does he get, like, I always wondered how he got so good at cards. Like, I was wondering that. I'm like, does he play cards? Like, is he doing that in the Empire? Like, how is he such a good pilot? Like, I agree with you. I think the choices begin, like the most important choice he made was in the beginning. Because you could say it's like, oh, the most important choice that he made was when he decided to give it to, what's her name, Kira Nest or whatever. I don't know what's her name. Vest, or I don't know what it is.
I know those names
Enfys
are all
Nest.
crazy.
Like, did he decide to help that trial out after he found out the story of like how all the people had their tongues cut out and stuff? It's like, okay, I could see that as being an answer too.
So my answer, you brought this up, is when he actually kills Woody Harrelson. When that happened, I didn't think, because what is it that George Lucas changes? Who shot first, right? He changes, the fact that Han shot first to make Han a much likable character, the hero and stuff. But what this movie does is it allows Han to be Han. Allows
Yeah,
Han to be shot first. I think that's the biggest decision because that's the first time where he just kills somebody really in cold blood.
mid-sentence, you know?
Mid-sentence, yeah.
Yeah.
So I
it's-
think that's
it's
probably
crazy.
the biggest decision that he
It's
had made.
interesting to me too because it's like here's the same character who it's kind of like Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of like based on this character and he's like a goofier version and such, right, of Han Solo. But it's
Mhm.
like you've got like Han cracking jokes when he's with Dryden Voss and he's like, oh, I think we should team up together. He's like, oh, good, you go first. And it's like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, that's the guy before he shoots Thomas Beckett. So it's like he hasn't kind of gotten to that point, but it's like what brings him there? And I kind of agree with you. It's one of those big decisions, but I also think it's like we probably could have used a little more build up to that because it's like he had just kind of realized that he was betrayed by his girlfriend and betrayed by Beckett and stuff like that. And it's like, all right, well, I feel like he was like partially there, he wasn't completely there. That's why my answer was like at the beginning with like, oh, this is the more important choice. But I like your answer.
I was surprised that it happened when he got shot. I thought somebody else shot him.
I forgot
initially.
about that. Like seriously, when I was watching this movie again, like this time, I was like, oh, I'm like, wow, he just kind of shot him straight out in cold blood.
And I think that does make him who he is moving forward. I mean, he is a man.
Without doubt.
Yeah. When you've committed that type of crime, I mean, it's one thing to like defend yourself. It's another thing just to like, hey, I'm tired of your shit and your talking. I'm just gonna throw you away. I mean, and of course, Woody Harrelson's character does say that he did the right thing because I would have killed you anyway. So he does the right thing theoretically, but I mean, I think for us, it changes how we should look at Han because like I said, George Lucas wants us to believe that Han is this noble hero, which he is, but he also is, like you said earlier on, he's a survivor. And if that means he has to shoot first, that means he's going to shoot first.
I disagree with the fact that George Lucas wants us to see that because I think it's a circumstance where he had a redemption. That's where it's like we realize that he's kind of like a self-serving piece of garbage, but we're like, oh, we're okay with like Chewbacca because like Chewbacca cares about people, but he's kind of on Han's side too, and he's okay with like all this like morally gray stuff going on. But Han sees himself in this movie as an outlaw. And Kira's like, yeah, okay, you're an outlaw, big outlaw guy, right? And then what do we see at the end? Like he's become like Billy the Kid or like any of these
Robin Hood.
maybe. Yeah, in this sense, Robin Hood, yeah. But I mean he's just like, all right, well, I don't like the Empire and they're trying to kill me anyway. And he's like, I guess I'll play this role that I've been thrust into of the outlaw. Good question.
Yeah. For me, it's a little more simpler. I like your ideas. I like where you guys go with this. I'm just analyzing it from the other movies of how we know Han and his career. I would say the most important thing that would change the other movies is when he is thrown into the pit with Chewbacca.
That's true
Now,
too, yeah.
Now it's a life or death situation. Yeah, I think he kind of knew it was a Wookiee after he got a look at him, but he could have easily, like you said, he's a survivor. And as a survivor, he's got to take no hostages. He could have easily attempted to kill Chewbacca and then, of course, try and determine what his next move is he's still in the pit. But he makes a choice to befriend him and team him because apparently he speaks Wookiee a little bit, right? Little broken Wookiee.
I don't know how I feel about that, by the way.
What? That he speaks broken Wookiee?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. I get it. But that friendship makes the movies of the future. Without
I
those
love
two,
that
you don't have
part.
the movie.
And
And you may not like that, but I really like that part.
You like I speak a little Wookiee, broken
Yeah.
Wookiee?
I know
Yeah.
a little Wookiee.
And
Yeah,
don't you
right.
think though, guys, like we're talking about like the end with Beckett where he shoots Beckett, don't you think that maybe Han in the end of the movie wouldn't have befriended him and would have just tried to kill him and gotten killed or something?
No,
I don't
I
think
think
he
he
was the
would have
same
tried to
character.
befriend him. I think he would have
You
tried
do?
to befriend
Okay.
him. Yeah.
He's still an opportunist, so
Still an opportunist, but you're right.
But the one thing that Woody Harrelson's character does teach him is not to trust anybody, right?
Right.
And Han is very trusting. We see that throughout the whole movie that he kind of is a trusting person. So he's still kind of naive and wet behind the ears a
very
little bit.
naive,
So,
yeah. Which is fun. It's funny too because he's such a grifter himself.
You think he would have learned it by that time already, based on how he had to get through everything that he's had to get through.
I like that part where he's like just going through and he's like, well, you've got laser burn, so clearly you pulled that off of this person. And this guy, you know, you used your extra set of arms to pull your pants up down there. So I was like, yeah, that was pretty fun.
I wish they wouldn't have got rid of that character, the guy with the multiple arms, so soon. He seemed like he would have been a fun guy to have.
It does seem kind of like a waste that they had like this great character design and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, he's dead. I'm like, I totally thought he'd be coming back, but they had to make a way for Han to be the pilot. So
guess so. So in kind of leading to that last remark we had about the multi-armed character, does anyone know that character's name? I forgot.
Jon Favreau played that character.
Jon Favreau played it, the voice of it? Okay.
Yeah, let's see. He was...
Looks like Jon Favreau.
Rio
It does
Durant.
look like... Okay, let's just call him Jon Favreau. So if you could remove one scene without losing the story's meaning, what would it be? What would you add instead if you could?
It seems kind of tight, like for the time, like I don't think it lags like some of the movies where it's like you see people like walking on like the sand or anything. Maybe some of the walking at the end, like you know, like Beckett walking or something. I would tighten that up a little bit, but I don't know that I would remove anything because it seems important to like show up at this town and then like, oh, nobody can talk at this town. He's like, oh, give me a drink. Now we know why they can't talk. They all had their tongues ripped out. So it's like, oh, like you've totally established why this is important. I don't know, maybe some of the stuff in the prison. What do you guys think?
I really don't. I can't think of anything. Like you said, it's a very tight movie.
Yeah.
As I'm watching this movie, everything really just flows really, really well.
You got to give it to Ron Howard for that because it's paced really well. For example, the first Star Trek movie, how long is that freaking intro? Holy crap. There's nothing like that. It's not like an over, you know, like, oh, even the beginning crawl of this movie is like, oh, it's just like a paragraph. It's not like the sprawl like you see on most of them. So I think it's pretty tight.
I think nothing to take away, but like I said, I would add a little bit. Add a little bit more to it. Like I said, the background, maybe seeing him as a kid and something, you know, traumatic happened to him as a kid that made him the way that he is. Like where it ends seems a little flat to me.
That he's going to work for Jabba. Like it's just kind of like, oh, if you know, you know.
Yeah, I just feel like we could add a little bit more there, especially now that we never got another movie. And I don't know if they had planned another movie. I would assume they did if they were going to bring Darth Maul back, you know, for that scene.
Solo 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, right.
Solo 2.
Yep. I mean, you could still do it. He's probably about the right age now to do another solo movie, but
he did most recently, I think, that Ironheart series for Marvel. So he's still acting, and this guy's still playing Chewbacca. So a lot of these players are still at it.
We'll say the guys the actor that plays Han Solo, it does a good job overall. I think he's really solid.
I really liked him actually.
To me, he looks like a young James Garner.
James Garner, wow, yeah,
okay.
No, but I'm with you a little bit. James Marsden a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it did a good job with, you know, some of the mannerisms of Harrison Ford. Yeah, the mannerisms that he does are just well done, and then of course Donald Glover is really good as Lando.
He is really good,
so freaking good,
so slick.
The only thing I don't like is the love relationship with the android. I think that's a little much, considering we didn't see anything like that with him in the other movies, and now you're like putting this.
You know, that's the joke, right? Like the android thought he was in love with her, and he literally said, "I would have wiped her mind, you know, if she didn't have like the greatest navigational database in." So she thought that about him, but he did not think that about her, which is hilarious.
I mean, he sacrificed his life to get her, and he cried over the fact that he was pretty devastated.
He didn't die. Well.
He took one in the shoulder.
He took one in the shoulder, for her.
I don't know that he loved her like that, like a partner, like a relationship partner, because it seemed to me like it was like, oh, yeah, this is like more valuable to me. But
I think that was just an excuse to make it seem like he didn't care for her, but he actually did. And you know what? We cared about the one thing, and I know you didn't like Rogue One, but I think the robot in Rogue One is the highlight.
KTSO by Alan Tudyk, yeah.
Yeah, he's the highlight, and I think he's my favorite character in that movie. And I think
he's everyone's favorite character in that movie.
Yeah, And so sometimes we love the droids. I mean, we're attached to the droids. I mean, I know Ted would be, attached to R2, and I loved
BB-8,
R2D2,
yeah.
and I did want to see C3PO die at the end, but that didn't happen, so that's okay.
He's in this movie. He had like a brief sort of
Brief little
cameo in
there.
this one. So yeah, Anthony Daniels was technically in this movie. Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Interesting questions though. So yeah, I like what you were saying about like adding a little bit here and there or something too. So because I'm like, yeah, even though it's tight, it's like a director's cut could like add something extra to it.
Like maybe a little backstory on Han and Kira's relationship.
How did they meet? Why are they so
Yeah.
so close and everything like that? Yeah.
Which leads into my next question. I'm setting you guys up.
Ooh.
How would you describe Han and Kira's relationship? Romance? Partnership? Survival pact? Something
Both.
else? I mean, it's kind of interesting watching. She was just, she was enthralled with him. And then when she gets taken away and they meet again, on the ship there, it's kind of, I would have liked to know a little bit about what happened to her after she was taken away up to that scene, how she met Voss. How did she escape? Was she, sold into slavery? Did she, how did she get to that point?
That's
That's
like
what
you'd
I
have
would
to
have
do
liked
that
to
in
know.
a flashback because it would
Yeah,
ruin the
it
reveal.
could be a good
but like
flashback.
something
Yeah.
like a flashback would work.
She's clearly not the same person she was. Han wants her to be, but she clearly isn't.
Interesting.
Well, Woody
yeah.
Harrelson's character kind of knows that she's not what she
Yeah.
appears
Oh, yeah.
to be. He kind of warns her about that. And I agree. I think a good flashback would be nice. But then you would have to have that moment where, because we don't get this moment where her, he finds out that she's like,
Crimson
I don't
Dawn.
want to say, yeah, he leaves her and she's like, I'll be right behind you. They never have that moment where she explains to him why she is what she is, right? And usually you get that in those type of movies, but here you don't. Again, like I said, I think they were expecting another film. I think that's why we're missing little pieces here and there in this movie. As far as their relationship goes, I have a feeling like he saved her life a few times in the past. And she's very grateful because she goes to bat for him at the beginning of the movie when they're about ready to teach him a lesson.
Kill him.
And she's really I forget the creature's name that
Lady Proxima.
Yeah, the one that with the sunlight and burns her, I guess. But she sacrifices, herself for his well-being, and that tells me that they've gone through things together that nobody else has, gone through before. So there is a extreme special bond. But those 3 years of whatever she went through did change her. I think she's probably fighting against herself, the one that loves Han and the one that needs to survive. The one that survives is the one that wins at the end. Whereas Han is the exact opposite. He is willing to for the love and not for the, the survival at that particular time.
So what is the branding? Is the branding on her arm? Is she the property of Voss now?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah. And I wish we had seen more of the resentment aspect of like being left behind, because I felt that was kind of like left on the table for them. Because if you think about like what motivated this character and all that, Han was in love with her. This was his first love. She was so excited by him because he always kept things interesting, and he protected her. Like that was like, oh, okay, so this is his first love. This is like the one that, got away and all that. And like his motivation was, I'm going to get back there and try and save her and all that. He thought he was going to be the White Knight, character and all that. Now with her, things changed so drastically, personality-wise. She had to become her own personal savior. She had to work on herself, rely on herself, do all this stuff. So it's like, as much as she still loved Han, she had to leave that notion behind that he was going to be there to save her and all that. And she moved on in 3 years. That's a lot to happen. So the fact that like he was still in love and like holding the torch for her, she clearly moved on, to Dryden Voss and stuff like that. It's like there's a lot of like deep things to look at. And I feel like they could have really explored that a little bit more when they explained why she did what she did. Well, you left me behind and I had to make do somehow. And that's why she developed, she's like, never again will I be left behind. That would have been like, oh, I get it. Like she's still kind of pissed at him, even though like she tried to save his life. Like that would make sense to me. But we didn't kind of get that. And I think that like as exciting as he is, I think she's over it. Like I don't think that she loves him. I don't think that she ever intended to do anything other than what she did, and climb the ranks to get to where she needed to. And that was the change in those 3 years.
She was just waiting for her opportunity to take it. But I will say this, and this is going to be very controversial. I buy this relationship more than him and Leia.
Oh,
Just to be
yeah.
honest with you.
Dude, absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
This is actually has layers to their relationship where I just feel like all of a sudden we're like, Han and Leia, well, why do they love each other? Oh, because they're total opposites and because he doesn't listen to her and goes against the grain and stuff like that. So they have to be together. Whereas there seems to be a little bit more of the chemistry that is involved in that. So kudos to
I
them
think the
for
other
developing
relationship is just based on physical stuff. I think that's all it is. That's all it was. Like they just were attracted to each other and stuff like that.
They
But
had
again,
two
the
male
guy's
leads and
exciting. He's a bad boy. He's an outlaw and stuff like that. She's a princess. So it's like that's a whole different sort of thing.
Right.
It's like a Taylor Swift song.
Smuggler and a princess. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Out next Tuesday on Spotify.
On CBS, Smuggler and a Princess. All right. So the film often contrasts self-interest with loyalty. Where do you see Han pulled between those forces? Self-interest and loyalty.
It's kind of like the overall theme of the movie, isn't it?
Who is Han loyal to?
I think he's loyal to people that he trusts or people that have given him an opportunity to be trusted. Like he is loyal to Woody Harrelson's character and Chewbacca and Tisgrave. He's loyal to all of them until they show that they're not loyal to him. So I do think he has a strong loyalty because he keeps on going back to them. Even when they like push him aside and try to get rid of him, he I think he's pretty loyal. He didn't have to stay with Woody Harrelson's group after everybody got killed. He didn't have to do any of that stuff. He was a free man. He could have just, get off. Right.
I think since he was involved in the heist and all that, he was still like marked for death by Dryden Voss. Like that was part of it too. So I think he was kind of like stuck.
But Woody Harrelson said that he wasn't unless he went with him.
He was an unknown at that point. He didn't even know he existed.
Unknown that he didn't even exist. But he felt like he owed it to him because he dumped the cargo. So he got rid of the cargo. So he felt like he let him down. So he showed his loyalty there. I think the person he's the most loyal to is Chewie. Seems to be, their chemistry as friends right off the bat seemed to be really strong. But yeah, I think Han's a very loyal person.
Very loyal? I don't know. I get what you're saying about him being loyal to Beckett, and I wasn't seeing it that way until you said it. So it's like, I get it up to a certain point. Yes, I would agree with that. Just like I think he's loyal with Kira until she betrays him in Dryden Voss's office. I think that's when it changes, but it changes after she kills Dryden Voss. Like that's when it like ends. And if you had asked me this question and I answered first, I would have said only Chewbacca. That's it. Yeah. So I think that he's not as loyal as you think. I think he's more opportunistic than loyal. I definitely read it as like he was in trouble because he was with Beckett and Beckett was going to like throw it on him too. Because that's Beckett's, because he was going to try to like leverage that, oh, you were there, you were part of this, you're an accomplice. He doesn't have a lot of options because he's on the run from the Empire as well. So it's more of an opportunity for him. And he's like, well, let's see if I can make something out of this with this big guy. I can earn some money. Even if he wasn't marked for death because of the failure or something like that, he was there because he thought that there was an opportunity.
Well, and he didn't have a ship at that time.
No, good point. He's kind of like out of luck.
I understand what you're coming from. I do think he's loyal. I think he learns his lesson about loyalty. I think that's why we hear don't trust anybody. Because like I said at the beginning of this, like he's very trusting. And I think trusting and be loyal kind of go hand in hand in this situation to a certain extent. But I think it's great that at the end of the day, he shoots him. Yeah. So, that ends that loyalty right there and then. And I love Woody Harrelson's character. It's a great character.
It's a good character to talk about too. Like seriously, like the Tobias Beckett character. I feel like with the exception of Lando, he is the breakout character of this movie. Like just such a good performance, like super strong Woody Harrelson, and it's not over the top. It's not like particularly goofy like he is in like other movies and stuff like that, but it's not overly serious. It's a solid performance.
What I like about it is you don't know what he is. Throughout the whole movie, you're guessing. It's kind of like Professor Snape in the Harry Potter movies, but with a little bit more like, fun. Is he somebody that's going to turn on Han? Is he with Han? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? All these different things are going through your mind throughout the whole movie with him. He plays it so back and forth so well. You don't know. You don't know if he's the loyal guy at the end of the day, or if he's a good guy or he's a bad guy. That's what I love about it, is that we don't see his true colors until right at the end.
What do you think about loyalty there, Eric?
Boy, you guys make some really good points here. I was thinking about this. Initially, I was leaning towards his loyalty. His loyalty, in my opinion, is really Chewbacca from day one. And you can see that throughout the movies. Chewbacca is the one person that will never, ever let him down. But as a smuggler, and you can see definitely how opportunistic he is, I'd say he plays the loyalty card kind of to see how far it will go to better his situation at the time. So, and I would say he probably learned from the statement about trusting people from Beckett early on. And Beckett obviously showed him to the end of Beckett's life how it's played out, which is pretty much how Beckett was probably going to die anyway. If it was Han who shot him or anyone else, it was just a matter of time. So loyalty, I'd say to one person, kind of like you said initially, Chewbacca.
It's interesting too because like when you were talking about like Beckett and his crew and stuff like that, I'm like he was like I feel like he would have fit in with those guys.
He would have.
With like Rio and it was the other one, Zan. I don't know what's her name. The Thandie Newton character that died.
Obviously, Beckett had loyalty to Val. But even when Han mentioned Val, he's like nobody. But I think that relationship, I would like to see a little bit of backstory between those two.
Maybe that's like a series or like something else or a flashback or anything else. But
there
like
are so many spinoffs,
Yeah.
many you could come up with on these Star Wars movies.
I like what Ken was saying a lot because I didn't think about it like that. And, you've got kind of like, I don't want to call Han an idealist in like the traditional sense of the word, but I do think he's got like that optimistic like streak to him. Like he's like, well, let's go into this relationship, and he jumps in like both feet, like he's like, oh yeah, let's do this. It's like, and that's kind of like Han to a T. But it's like, I don't think he's doing it out of like, oh, I'm going to be loyal to you. He's like, we'll each like sell each other out for $1. Oh, but that's the game. Kind of like the Sting or something like that. It's like he's trying to play the game.
As I think about it, in Empire, he did have loyalty to Luke Skywalker. He risked his life to go out there and find him.
They had been through it though. I mean, at that point, they blew up the Death Star. So And that was the turning point too. It's like he showed up at that was it Battle of Yavin? I don't know. Ted would know. I don't know.
I think as Han progresses in age and through the movies, his loyalty progresses. I think early on, as he is learning how to become a smuggler, same with like an Empire, and in the first one, he's talking about Obi-Wan. He's like, where did you find that old fossil? Where did you dig up that old fossil? I mean, he doesn't really have loyalty to the Empire, and he doesn't have loyalty to the Rebellion. He even says that early on in the first movies.
In The Force Awakens, it seems like he doesn't really have a loyalty to his family either because he's kind of gone again. But where he's not with Leia is like he may love her, but he's just like, yeah, I'm gone. And like his son, it's like the moment at the end where he gets that lightsaber through his chest, and it's like, what did you expect, man? It's like you're not really close.
Moving on, how does this film use humor, action, and suspense to create its tone? Because the whole movie is humor, action, and suspense. And which moments best capture these tones?
Lando Calrissian is the answer to every one of these questions.
Yeah,
and L3,
I like that.
37
humor,
is
action, and suspense.
the main answer.
Yeah,
I
like the use
funny,
of humor
like
in
at
this
times,
movie.
and Beckett has those moments. I agree. I think that's something that is like the new Star Wars versus the old, and I prefer this. Just like it's not stuffy and they're not talking about like some system that I don't care about with like a British accent.
Is this a Ron Howard trait
I think
when it
it
comes
is.
to
Yeah,
directing? Yeah.
I agree. I think of like Bill Paxton and all that in Apollo 13, and some of the other like I don't know. I have a hard time remembering a lot of Ron Howard
Because
besides like
Apollo
Willow and
13
Apollo
is a
13.
really serious movie, let's be honest. Yes. But it has those flashes of sarcastic and deadpan humor here and there.
I think Howard's a good director, and I think
Yeah.
he pulls out those moments from people, and I think he elevates what's on the page. And we know that there's problems with what was shot, and we know that there were problems with what was written. So I think that with Ron Howard on here, that's why we got that outcome.
I think of Ron Howard's movies like Cinderella Man. You take something a little bit more serious, but there's moments of little humor here and there just to keep it light side. He never gets too serious. He never lets his movies get too serious until they need to be that serious, right? So, but this is a different type of movie for Ron Howard. This is a heist movie. He hasn't done a heist movie before because this is not really Star Wars in my opinion. This is a heist in space.
It's like Firefly more than Star Wars, but it's not as funny as Firefly,
And I think that's, it works on its own merit as a standalone because it is different. But I think that's what maybe why it gets forgotten a little bit too, though, is because it isn't Star Wars. I mean, you have the Millennium Falcon and you have the characters' names, but what else makes it Star Wars, really, in this particular situation?
It's just the world that exists in, really,
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like an offshoot of that universe, but it doesn't have the feel of, let's say, the original trilogy. And then again, we'll go back to Rogue One. I think Rogue One does a better job of being Star Wars. And I do think that the sequels to the original series are better at being Star Wars than even the prequels were. Like at the beginning where you have, they're running away and they get separated and Han gets thrown into the pit. Well, then he sees Chewie. Well, there's humor in that because you know that they're going to be friends. So even though there's no real jokes going around in there, like for instance, when Han does speak Wookiee, it relieves the tension, So I think he does a great job of relieving like tension and bring us down. I was watching a podcast on YouTube about wrestling and how wrestlers sometimes have to like slow things down because if they brought the audience up too high, then everything else they do is going to just feel the same. So they had to bring it down. And I think that's what they do here is to get them from being this one level. Howard has been really great at this, is he brings them down to this level to bring them back up to that level a little bit later on.
Yeah, kind of like what we were talking about with Bale, where Bale would be probably way too up here where, Harrelson's down here,
Yeah, Harrelson would do a better job of flipping back and forth in that situation than Bale would, in my opinion. Because I can't think of anything that Bale's been in where he would make me giggle or laugh a little bit,
It's American Psycho, maybe a little bit in like
maybe
the second Batman, The Dark Knight, where he had like a sense of humor, or maybe Dark Knight Rises. Newsies, maybe. No, again, they're all too serious.
Yeah, they're very serious. And
American Psycho,
they're good for what they are.
It's crazy.
But let's think of what Han Solo is throughout the original series. He is kind of the comic relief. So you can't have a very serious movie because Han is not a very serious character.
Yeah, I agree. He's not serious. And I think that if they had played it dead serious, like Luke Skywalker's a serious character, which is funny because it's like he's inexperienced and naive to whatever. And then he gets serious like later, or he gets funny later on, but yeah, like he's just like all, single tunnel vision and all that. But yeah, I do think though that the droids were the comic relief in the original Star Wars as opposed to Han. I think Han was just kind of like a I guess he's got his one-liners, but I would give that to C-3PO.
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's a good balance. I think you need more than one. And the droid here does a great job of, a droid that basically wants to free other droids and stuff like that. And
it's something else.
That goes against everything they're doing. She has her own agenda and it's kind of like going against their agenda. So there's a good balance, I think, in that. Like I said, originally, I didn't feel that balance. I hated it. because of everything that was going on in the world at that time. But now that I watch it this time around, I can see a good balance between her character and what she's trying to do and what they're trying to do. And I think it works really well.
What do you guys think about the droids being like a precursor to today's AI and where AI is going?
Their droids are so dumb. I don't know how anyone would be worried about them taking over. Like even from the prequels and stuff like that, it's like whether it's programmed errors or anything else like that, you're just like, oh, these are not a threat to our way of
Well,
life.
LTT, she's kind of an exception.
Yeah, I mean they talk like people and all that.
She
but
has
it's like,
human feelings, human actions, freeing the other droids, love, sarcasm, anger. Get your ass out of my seat. I mean,
they're very non-threatening in general. I mean, like there are some droids that are like scary and all that, but you're just like, these things are stupid. Like, do you see like the brick bot with like the big feet that was jumping?
well, yes,
You know,
yes, that's
like it just you just
But
wonder.
that's-
It's like, what are they actually doing?
But
Like they
that's
can't even sweep
1977.
correctly.
so.
Well,
yes.
that was in this one at the like when she changed the programming or something like the directive, and they're in the
yeah.
prison
Yes.
or like the mine, not the prison, but the in the mine.
Yeah, it
And
took
they're
a
like
little-
jumping and like smashing
Yes.
stuff. I'm like, it's friggin' BattleBots, man. It's like, yeah, like you could walk around and do whatever you want because of the fatal flaw of the program for this. So it's like, I don't know if AI is like as much a thing there where it's like, oh man, these things are just really dumb.
That was just a spontaneous question that kind of
It's a good
popped in
one.
my mind there. Yeah. So we talked about this kind of early on, but does this film rely on fan service? If so, does it add meaning or distract from the story?
Yeah, it relies on fan service to a certain extent because of the fact that the jokes that are in there, you have to watch the original trilogy to get some of the stuff that's being done here. And that stuff is what's needed to balance the movie out. If you're starting off watching Star Wars with just Solo,
There's no way. Like
it's just not going to work.
It don't work. My friend
So-
calls it weaponized nostalgia. You know, like the kind of idea like they're like, you know, what else could they have done except for put like a Darth Vader poster on the wall, like or something like that, you know? I mean, it starts with the Star Wars opening theme song, and then it's like, oh, we can't wait until they meet Chewbacca. And I guarantee you, every theater that was in the first time you saw him, everybody cheered,
Sure,
you know, or
sure.
something like that. It's like this movie is like nostalgia, and we're gonna fill in the gaps, you know, and they may like it or not like it, but it's like when Lando Calrissian shows up, come on, you know, it's like, oh, that's totally the guy. He's wearing the cape, you know.
Right.
I'm going to bring this up real quick about the pit again. Are we to believe that Chewie would eat a human being down below when they threw humans down there, or
Apparently we
Or-
are.
I believe it.
I don't-
Yeah.
I believe it.
I don't know. I just that goes against the Chewbacca character that we've grown to love and understand. I mean, ripping the arms off of somebody is one thing, but to eat them, I guess if you really had to because you got nothing to eat, I guess you would. But I don't know. I just feel
It
like
goes to
that's-
show you Chewbacca's no joke, man. Like that's the thing in a world of like, I don't know, space crazy knights and demons and things like that. Chewbacca's no
No joke for Chewbacca. What questions does the ending leave you with? And what would you want a sequel to explore?
Yeah, we already said that a sequel, especially with Darth Maul, we would really love to find out what's in between. And who kills Darth Maul? Is it Han? Who, because as far as I know, Darth Maul isn't a thing going from A New Hope on.
Sure,
Yeah,
Ted would
I-
tell us the lore, you know, on
He
this
would.
is like, oh, Clone Wars did this, and there's his brother, Savage Opress, and all that. I'd be like, I don't know, man.
I think for those who just watched the movies, I think a sequel is why I think this movie lands a little flat at the end because we didn't get a sequel. It leaves a lot of open questions that are not going to be answered unless some other series decides to take care of that.
That's
Yeah,
your expectations
we're
again.
8 years down.
Yeah, but that wouldn't stop them from doing another movie with a different cast to answer those questions. Heck,
And I'm surprised they
Mandalorian might do
didn't because they make so much money off them. I mean, none of them lose money.
We just got a Spinal Tap sequel, guys. You know, after what, 40 years?
we went on opening night, me and Eric. So
Yeah,
there
we
you go.
did.
Nice.
So
Yeah, we did.
Nice.
Well, what do you call these solo type movies? What's the term? They're
they're
Spin-off
stories.
prequel. You know,
stories. Yeah. I mean, every one that's come out, Rogue One,
Solo.
Solo,
only two so far.
Skywalker, yeah, they've made money, so there's no reason why they couldn't, like you said, bring in different characters, bring in, come on, you brought in Woody Harrelson, I mean, you could bring in anyone to these movies that haven't played backstory characters. I think they're all money makers. I am surprised they haven't, but I just think they probably put all their money in Mandalorian and those types, the TV show spinoffs.
Well, I think back
interesting.
then,
We're getting a Mandalorian and Grogu movie. I mean, it's one of those things too. Like the studio just let go of a ton of special effects people. Like Disney laid off the entire people that working on Marvel movies.
Are they going AI with it?
Maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think that we're coming to a point where the audience has changed with these movies. Whereas like we look back on this and we're like, oh, this is fine, but like this is fine to like consume on a streaming or anything else like that. But I think that like for a sequel, I don't know that we've got the appetite for something like that as
What do you mean
a audience. Well, you think about it, like could we have had an Obi-Wan movie instead of an
Yes.
Obi-Wan 5-episode series or an Ahsoka Tano series, or because I think Mandalorian kind of changed what the appetite was for. That people want episodic, longer, sort of drawn out stories rather than just like a 2-hour movie to like kind of truncate everything into. I
They
think
want a
that the
series.
way they're
Yeah.
consuming this has changed. And there's always going to be room for a Star Wars movie, but a Star Wars movie at best is going to be an outline of this. Then they can explore it in whatever. And we know that like even if they do like a cartoon series or a comic book, it's not going to be canon. So it's like, oh, the only canon's going to be live action movies or series. So I don't know. If they did a sequel to this, it would have to be like a 4-part, 5-part, 8-part series.
I think COVID kind of changed how we
Yeah,
get our media.
You know what? That's the answer right there.
COVID.
Yeah.
Well, because then everybody was watching
Lockdown,
everything from home, and they got into series, and
Yeah.
and they would watch old series, 27 episodes a season, which now it's typical to get 6, 8, 10 episodes in a series, whereas back in the day you'd get like 22 to 27 episodes in a series. Man, I try to watch like The Practice from 97, 98, and it's hard for me to get through one season because it's 20 something episodes. But then I complain when my 10 episodes end. Like Scrubs just came out, and I think they had like 8 episodes. It's like, I want more Scrubs. But yeah, I agree with Justin. The appetite has changed. I also think there's so much politics and so much headaches that go into a Star Wars film. I mean, we take a look at this Solo movie here. They fired their director. They reshot 80% of this movie. So why? Because of politics and the way people want done. And there's always been a struggle. And then you get the backlash once these movies are done. So
they could have saved that money, right? Like if it was something like that, they could have saved the money from all the reshoots and things like that, and then just like done it like, oh, co-directed by this person or that person. So you're right on the nose about that, Ken. Like would this movie have like been more successful and made more money? Technically, probably, yeah.
So I just think that they just don't care for the headache. That's why they didn't do another Solo. They were just happy to get this one out and be done with it.
Okay, I can't argue with that. In one sentence, summarize what you think the film is ultimately saying about Han Solo. One sentence, one word. And you can't say strategic. So, yeah.
So it's one word to describe Solo?
Or a sentence.
I'd say it's a story of how Han becomes an outlaw, because I think that's ultimately where he ends up and not where he starts. So we do get some good character growth. So that would kind of be my answer.
Yeah, it's usually the redemption story, but this is the exact opposite.
It is the exact
redemption.
opposite.
It's exactly right. Yeah.
So I'll go with that.
Do you have a good?
Yeah, I'm going to go with you. It's the opposite of a redemption story, which probably might piss off a lot of the Star Wars elite. The fanboys, maybe.
I think that the fanboys would appreciate this movie. Like I said at the beginning of this podcast, Han shot first.
Yeah, he did, clearly.
And this backs that up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think fanboys would actually at least say, I appreciate that they admitted that Han is that type of character. Now, George Lucas trying to rewrite the character so many years later.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So which character would you follow into a sequel and why?
Kiara, absolutely.
Yeah?
Kiara would be the one. Yeah. I want to know what's going on with her more than what's going on with Han.
Even
and
Lando?
on
Even
Tatooine.
Lando?
I don't think we need more Lando. Like he was so good in this, it's like, why overload it? Like, have him show up as like a background character and use him sparsely. Is he interesting enough to know? I think we kind of know his deal. Like, he cheats at cards.
Yep.
He likes to spend money on fashion, stuff like that. It's like, all right, he's that guy. He doesn't have to be like, oh, well, how did he get in charge of like Cloud City on Bespin? It's like, I don't know. I mean, like, I want to see him and I want him to do color commentary and stuff like that. And like, Kiara's the interesting one. Where does she go? What's she going to take with this? What does she gain by partnering with Darth Maul? And ultimately, what happens to her? And does she run across Han again? That's what I would like to know.
Yeah, the Darth Maul thing is the kicker for me. I forgot that Darth Maul was in the end of this thing. I'm like, oh, that's right. So now you're like, okay, well, we've watched all the other prequels. We know what this guy turns into. Now we got this relationship here. That would be a great spinoff in itself. Anything that you want to bring up? Any part of the movie? Anything on your mind that we didn't talk about? I call it the wild card question. Ken, you always like to talk about this one. What do you got? Anything?
I just think it's fascinating that this is only the third time I've ever watched Solo. Like all the other Star Wars movies I've watched over and over and over again. This is, as much as I like this movie, this is, for me, not a rewatchable type of movie.
Don't do the review now, my man. Don't do the review now. Save it. Ken's set up his cards right there. He's laid his cards out.
Oh, he's like Lando. He's got that card hidden in his sleeve.
Yeah. All right. How about you, Justin? Anything?
I think it's a tight movie. It's got a good flow to it. I think that it's got some beautiful visuals. I think the effects, we didn't really talk about the effects much, but it's like they're really good. Like the ships especially look great in this. The characters that are both CG and whatever practical that you have on there, it looks fantastic. Scratching the surface of that, like I was just watching like the re-release of the regular Star Wars A New Hope, and when they added in all those other characters, it looks like ass. It looks like absolute garbage. In 2018, when this came out, the fact that everything blends in and you think that, Rio is a real character right next to Han sitting on the ship and all that, that's a big accomplishment. And they did an awesome job on this. And I could see why they were nominated for an Academy Award on it. I think the movie looks great.
I think it takes notes from Rogue One in that aspect.
Sure,
because Rogue One looks like a Star Wars movie. In fact, they when they shot this, they had to get they tried to find lenses to shoot with that they used back in the 70s to kind of give it a more of a grainier kind of feel, kind of a more of a Star Wars type.
That's
of
interesting.
More of a film, shooting it on film versus digital.
So
Rogue One to me looks like they shot the whole thing with like a blue light filter. So it's like it looks so cold, like in a lot of those scenes. This doesn't seem to have that. This looks more like a sepia sort of, like again vintage but warmer in a way. Like listening to music on vinyl as opposed to like a digital copy.
I think this one movie does something that the other movies don't do, is the fact that even though it's in the Star Wars universe, everything is new. New planets, new locations. We're not shown the same places that we've been to before. Kind of interesting that they're able to get away with that. And I think you have to use things like the Millennium Falcon to kind of make you feel like, again, it's a Star Wars movie. So insert Millennium Falcon here. And I remember when this first came out, the teaser that came out was the Millennium Falcon and how new it looked. And then we get to see it get beat up at the end of the movie and become what it basically is for us in A New Hope and moving forward. Because right there, it looks like a brand new ship, like it just came off the dealer's lot or something. It just looked really nice.
And Lando has a boot on it.
Right,
he can't leave because there's a tax boot on it. He didn't pay his fine.
All right, well let's get into the reviews here. We'll kick it off with Justin.
It's interesting because I think that one of the big things that the movie suffers from is the expectation of a sequel, which should not affect a movie as much as it does, but I think this one really suffers because of that, because it leaves us with those unanswered questions. I think it's shot really well. I think it's directed masterfully. I think that he did such a good job with that. The acting in it is good. It looks good. The sound is good. The music's good. It's like, all right, what's the only thing that doesn't work is like some of the elements of the plot, because even the dialogue is not bad and arguably better than the original Star Wars dialogue. This is a middle of the pack movie. This is not like by far my least favorite Star Wars movie at all. So it's just like, where does it fall? It falls in 3.25 to 3.5 hooks. So I would probably say maybe like 3.25. It's not, oh, you can't miss it, and it's not like the best thing I've ever seen, and it is far from my least favorite, but where do you put it then? So it's like that's 3.25. Would I recommend it? Sure. But like Ken said, maybe it's not one that you're going to rewatch every year. But I enjoyed watching this movie. I liked it, and I forgot that he shot Beckett at the end. Like I was like, oh, and it was cool seeing some of the things in there, and then learning about like, oh, the effects for the lines on Dryden Voss's face. Like I didn't know that, and now like watching it with like some of the knowledge of some of the production to it and all that, I think it's cool. So 3.25 hooks.
It's been probably 5+ years since I've seen this movie, and there was a lot about it I forgot. I really enjoyed it then, and watching it again, I really enjoyed it even more. It is a fun movie. I am not a Star Wars fanboy by any stretch of the imagination, but I enjoy the genre. I'm not a sci-fi nut, but I really do enjoy Star Wars. And this one is definitely a top-tier movie when it comes to the Star Wars family. I know maybe the fanboys aren't crazy about it, but I really enjoyed the movie. I like the banter between the characters. I loved Woody Harrelson. I love Glover as Lando. Everyone did a great job in this movie. And I definitely agree with you, Justin. You almost were expecting a sequel 3 years later. How the movie ended. You're like, oh, there's going to be a sequel. And the fact that there wasn't one is disappointing, but it still should not deter from the movie. It's a fun watch. I highly recommend it. Yeah, you kind of have to know a little bit of the backstory on Star Wars to really get the full effect of it. And I'm sure if you're watching Solo, you probably do. It's a solid 3.5 hooks for me, hands down.
Above average, right? It's like,
well above average.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah.
For me, I guess it is weird that this movie is one of those, just like I said earlier, I haven't come back to it. I rewatched it once after I saw it in the theaters, and I rewatched it again for this podcast, mainly because I forgot a good portion of it. I mean, I remembered the gist of it and stuff, but like Justin said, when he shoots Tobias, it's like, wait, what? It was Han? I just forgot about that. It does suffer from the fact that it's disconnected from, I think, the rest of the universe. Whereas like Rogue One had the connection. It fell in between episodes 3 and 4. It was like it had that going for it. Whereas Solo really, where does it really fall? I mean, I guess it falls in between episodes 3 and 4, but it feels like it doesn't. So it feels like there needs to be something else because of the way they left it. So does it hurt that a little bit? Yeah. It was nice to come back to this movie to watch it. I enjoyed it probably more this time around than I did the other 2 times I watched it previously, which that doesn't happen very often. Usually the first time I watch a Star Wars movie, especially, I like it more the first time than I do the other times I watch it. So 9, you're one of those. Yeah, the acting's fine. The special effects we talked about were great. The music is good. I mean, everything you need to make a good movie is here. It's just, I think right there at the end, you're just like, that's it. I think if you didn't include Darth Maul at the end, I think you wouldn't be expecting more.
Maybe.
But now that you threw that little nugget at the end of that film, you're like, this to me. And then you don't get it. And then you're like, well, then you forget about this movie. Because what would have happened is if we got that Darth Maul movie, then we would rewatch Solo again to get ready for that movie. And that movie never came, so we didn't do the rewatches. But I'm going to raise this up a little bit higher than I thought I was going to go. I'm going to go 3.75 on this.
Nice.
I agree with Justin. It's right in the middle. It's better than episodes 1 and 2 by far, and I think it's better than The Last Jedi. So those are the three right off the bat that I can say it's better than. I think it's kind of on par with maybe Rise of Skywalker. A better movie from start to finish than Rise of Skywalker.
Well, yeah, I think it's shot better, paced better, like in all honesty. But it's like I think that has a more interesting plot. I think that has more stakes, and I think that has more like, oh, I'm drawn in because I want to know what's going on. And that's kind of like the difference in this. It's like there's nothing cosmetically wrong with it. It's just like, all right, well, I ordered chocolate and you gave me vanilla. It's still good, but it's
still
not
like
what
it.
I wanted.
It's just not what I wanted. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. This is exactly what you're saying. This has all the right elements to be good, and it is a good.
So weird.
And it's good. For whatever reason, we just kind of push it aside and we're like, yeah, but that's not what I really wanted. But it'll taste good. Yeah, that's fine, but that's not what I really wanted. Yeah, so I agree with you. But 3.75 is where I'll end on that.
All right. What do you guys think Ted would have rated this movie? Honestly,
4.5. I think he would have said 4.5.
4.5.
Yeah,
I agree with you on that.
Because I know that he would not say 5, like specifically. He wouldn't. I think he would give it way higher than we did, and he would say because they initiated this type of droid or whatever. And I'm like, okay, whatever, man.
But he would know the backstory on the droids.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
My goodness, he'd know their heritage, their lineage.
Traditionally, the L7 models were used for this type of thing, which was good, which is surprising that Lando used it for a co-pilot. Oh, okay. Well, all right.
But he did give The Force Awakens a 5, so you would never know what Ted when he gives out a 5 or not. But I think
that's a better movie than this, though. I mean, it's
not by much, though. I don't think it's much better than that.
I do agree that it's not by much a better movie, but I think that was the other movie that I really saw the humor with, like Poe Dameron's character and all that. And this is just a funnier movie. And I think that maybe that's one of the things I like about it is that, yeah, they're not taking it. It's like if you can have Kirk and Bones cracking jokes in Star Trek, it's like here you can have like a couple jokes too. It should be okay.
I know if Ted were here, I would be making some type of weird ass sexual comments between Lando and the L series. So how do you actually penetrate the L series in a relationship?
She said it wouldn't work.
Yeah, she did say that.
They'd ask her.
But he'd make it work. No, I don't know. I'd be messing with Ted on this the whole day just because I can. So.
Have you guys, like, I know we talked about some of the spin-offs and stuff in here. Have you guys watched the show The Skeleton Crew on Disney Plus, the Star Wars show?
I tried to watch it. I only got through
if you stick through it, Jude Law's in it. He's kind of like the big name in it. So the interesting thing is if you think of like it's a crew of kids and they find a spaceship and they go and like there's a droid on it and stuff like that. And then they go off and they're kind of like on a space adventure and it's kind of like that. That's a good show. I liked it. I liked it a lot. And I don't get into a lot of Star Wars stuff, but I checked this one out. And I mean, like, there's 10 different Star Wars series out there. This was the one that I liked. I would recommend. No. Jude Law is like a outlaw character in it. He's kind of like a pirate Jack Sparrow sort of character. Practical costumes, everything. Like if you like Solo, I would recommend Star Wars Skeleton Crew. I would say check that out on the Disney Plus and all that.
But it's all kids?
No, the main characters are kids. It is not all kids. There's like other characters that are the bad guys that are following.
Suck.
Them.
That's why he doesn't like Goonies.
You don't have to like this, but I'm just saying Goonies, if you're a listener, a listener whose name is not Eric, you can check out the Skeleton Crew and then let us know on our Facebook page if you liked it. How about that?
Okay. All right.
Harry Potter.
Well, let's talk about the movie we're going to be doing next week. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ken, this is our first rated G movie.
You probably are right by saying that. I can't think of another G movie that we have done. And to be honest with you, I'm surprised that this is even rated G.
I am surprised that it's rated G as well. And it is. And we are talking about the 1979 release, Star Trek, the Motion Picture.
So for all you Star Trek nerds, you're finally getting what you want.
Probably not the one you want to kick it off with, but you kind of have to.
I have to.
Because it doesn't get much vanilla than this one, right?
Well, it's a 60th anniversary this year. So got to do Star Trek eventually. So here we are.
Yeah, Star Trek wearing the disco outfits. And yeah, definitely Shatner with a full head of toupee hair. It's It's awesome.
Now I just want to go back and watch. Now you say disco ball. I want to go watch Buck Rogers in the 25th century.
Oh, I love Buck Rogers. That is the epitome of the future. If it were 1979,
I love Buck Rogers.
Buck Rogers is the
Buck.
bomb.
Especially this first season. The first season was awesome. The second season got a little weird. I like Hawk, but
we just lost Gil Gerard a couple years.
Yeah, I think within a couple years ago. Yeah.
Sorry, all I can think of is Wilma Deering. That's it.
Love
That's all I can think of.
Yeah,
she made me a man.
Aaron Gray, isn't it? Aaron Gray. Silver Spoons.
She's actually a talent manager now for a lot of the actors.
Is she?
She is.
Really?
Yeah, she has her own agency. Still doing it.
How about that? The future of Hooked on Movies is here with our good friend hanging with Justin.
Thanks, Justin.
Didn't go for the hanging with Miss.
I was going to, but then I did not. So that's all the time we have on this episode of Hooked on Movies, the podcast. And as always, thank you for listening, watching, or joining us.
See you at the movies.
See you next time on Hooked on Movies.